Hello everyone, this is part 2 of the how many gadgets you need to use in order to beat Batman Arkham Knight challenge. In part 1 we covered the first half of the game, and now it's time to do the second part of the game and complete the challenge. If you haven't seen it yet, feel free to check out part 1 as well, because otherwise you'll be missing out. Don't worry, I'll wait here. Okay, now that you're back we can continue with the challenge. Our story picks up right after Barbara killed herself and Batman is feeling sorry for himself. The Joker gives you quite a nice pep talk, so your confidence returns and it's time to get your revenge on Scarecrow. Stage 1 of the plan: get Poison Ivy from the GCPD. You know what that means? To the Batmobile we go, cause we can't enter the GCPD otherwise. I told Cash about Barbara and also told him that I'm taking Poison Ivy, whether or not he agrees to that. Ivy was quite happy to exit her jail cell, so I had no issues with her. And then you go back into the Batmobile for like 10 seconds because you can't open the goddamn GCPD door, so you have to get out of the Batmobile in order to scan the Cobra tank 3 times. Following that you go back to the Batmobile and destroy the Cobra tank. Then you give the Batmobile a new upgrade, take Ivy to the Botanical Gardens, and go to Wayne Tower to have a tank battle. Then cutscene: Batman gets on top of a building and you have to glide and attack the militia who are trying to destroy Ivy's plants. You then go to the movie studios where you meet up with Robin and have a chat with him. Unfortunately I kinda forgot to tell him that Barbara was dead. I'm sure he wouldn't mind. And we tried to figure out how to get the Batmobile to Founders Island. The only way we managed to find was to destroy 2 militia towers and a drone. The drone was pretty easy, you just have to glide on top of it. With the 2 towers, however, they are protected by armed drones, so in order to get to the first one you have to use the remote hacking device in order to blind it, and then use the explosive gel in order to destroy the first tower. The second one is not much easier because you have to beat up a bunch of militias and then use the remote hacking device again, as the tower controller is protected by 2 sentry guns which you cannot dodge. And then finally use the explosive gel one more time to destroy the second tower too. Lastly, you go to a Predator section, and then finally you can lower the defenses protecting the militia's big cannon, so the Batmobile can destroy it, following a tank battle of course. We can't go without one. The Arkham Knight is not very pleased about his cannon being destroyed, so he personally tries to attack you. Unfortunately you enter a choking competition which you win, so the guy runs away. You go back to the Batmobile, blow up the cannon and go to the clock tower where you look at Barbara's picture until you're told by Henry Adams that Robin has been captured by Harley Quinn. As always with the clock tower you have to use the grappling hook in order to get out, because for some reason the elevator just doesn't exist for Batman. And then you go to the movie studios where you have to go to a Predator section in order to enter. You then use your brand new gadget, which is the voice synthesizer, and after you use it to open the door and mimic Harley Quinn's voice, you're immediately ambushed by a second Predator fight. These guys are also pretty easy to deal with, so after you're done with them you can enter the movie studios and find Robin. When you find the Boy Wonder you have to use the voice synthesizer in order to open the gate and rescue Robin and Henry. You learn that the 3 Jokers you've been keeping hostage have escaped, so you have to put them back in their cells. That won't be easy though, because you're constantly ambushed by Harley Quinn's men, and to take out the machine gun guy you have to grapple up 2 times and sneak behind the guy, which will allow you to do a tag team takedown. Then, in order to apprehend Christina Bell, you have to go through a Predator section. There you don't have to use any gadgets in order to defeat Harley's men. So with Christina done, we have to go to the next one, which is Johnny Charisma. There, in order to sneak behind the other machine gun guy, you have to use the grapple once and then the explosive gel, which will annihilate the machine gun guy. And you will find Jason. What was he doing there? Why am I having a flashback out of nowhere? Anyway, after you have the flashback, you review the footage of the cameras so that you can enter and fight Johnny Charisma, or more so the Joker can sing for you for a while Robin defuses all the bombs. You capture Johnny, and for the next room you have to go in the ventilation and use the voice synthesizer to confuse Harley's men to open the door for you, after which you have to take them down. You have another flashback about Jason, and then you and Robin go to fight the Goliath. I like how Batman just leaves Robin to carry the Goliath alone, even though the guy is like twice as big as Robin. In order to reach the holding cell, you try to use the ventilation voice synthesizer tactic again. Unfortunately, this time the real Harley shows up, so this fails. So you activate your secret weapon, which is Robin raising up Harley, which is very effective, and she opens the door for you, allowing you to beat up all her henchmen. Wow. So now you're gonna do something, Batman, when you have to carry Harley. Why don't you carry the Goliath and leave Harley to Robin? When we returned to the holding cells, Henry decided to betray me, thinking he'll become the new Joker. After I gave him a single death stare though, he decided that life was no longer worth it and shot himself. Seeing how much aura I had, Robin wanted to throw me in the holding cell as well, but I tricked him and threw him there instead. By the way, Robin, Barbara is dead, bye! When you go out of the movie studios, you get into the Batmobile and install a new upgrade, after which you have a tank battle, which lasts for a very long time. Since you took so long to fight the militia with your tank, Scarecrow activated his cloudburst and flooded the city with fear toxin. For that reason you have to go back to Stark's airship, beat up a few of the militia's men, and then use the voice synthesizer in order to sample Stark's voice, and then use the voice synthesizer again right away to open a door. You find out the Stark managed to escape, and cutscene Batman activates both his detective mode and uses the grappling hook once, but since those happen in a cutscene they do not count. You find Stark and it's time to escape, but there is a drone that's blocking your way, so you have to use the remote hacking device in order to blind it for a bit. Your next task is to find and fix the Batmobile, and when you fix it you have to go inside of it, have a tank battle, and then go underground. You then need to get out of the Batmobile so you can sneak around the tanks. To do so you have to use the remote hacking device in order to blind the tanks. You have to use the remote hacking device total of 3 times, after which you use the grappling hook. You then have to drop down, open the door and use the remote controlled Batmobile. Next up you have to open yet another door, so you have to exit the Batmobile. Use the grappling hook to get to the next area and lower the ramp. Then go inside of the Batmobile in order to position the ramp correctly, lock the ramp in one place, and get back to the Batmobile so you can use the ramp and get to the other side. You dig out Ivy's plant, and thankfully she is very nice and she gets you over ground. Unfortunately you then have to have a tank battle. And this is a long tank battle, because after destroying the standard tanks, you have to deal with the Arkham Knight and his tank. When you defeat the Arkham Knight, Batman uses his grappling hook in the cutscene, and after the Knight escapes, Batman returns to Poison Ivy only to find her on the brink of death. She used all the power she had left in order to clear off the fear toxin. When she managed to clear the air of Gotham, she died like the bravest hero I had ever seen, proudly proclaiming that nature always wins. Ivy died like a hero, a much bigger hero than I ever could be. I couldn't even save Barbara. I was such a failure. I can't even enter the GCPD without the Batmobile for some reason. I returned to the GCPD and found out that Gordon was trying to send a message. So I went back to the Batmobile and headed for the hideout of the Arkham Knight. There you have to use the electric charge for the first time. It's a good thing I stole it from the GCPD, otherwise I would have been screwed. Anyway, you have to use the charge a total of 2 times. And you watch as Gordon is taken away by the militia. You then use the voice synthesizer in order to convince the militia to open the door for you. This works out perfectly because you can then use the Batmobile to just annihilate all of the militia people. You switch back to Batman to open a gate and then go back to the Batmobile in order to blow up a wall. You have to use the grappling hook in order to get to the other side of the wall, because I couldn't find any way to get there using just the gliding. And then to come back you also have to use the grappling hook a second time. Then you have to get the Batmobile in there, and when you do that you have to use the grappling hook yet again in order to get to the top floor, where in order to blow up the generator you have to use the electric charge a total of 5 times. Then you go back into the Batmobile, go one floor lower, blow up a wall and use the grappling hook in order to get into the elevator shaft, after which you have to use the electric charge on the elevator once, and then use your explosive gel in order to blow up another wall. Then you have to use your grappling hook followed by the electric charge again in the elevator. This time, however, you have to also use the grappling hook one more time and then get the elevator out of the way using the electric charge. This would allow you to get into the next area where you have to beat up the militia, and then you have to go to yet another elevator, but that one is protected by a sentry gun, so you have to use the remote hacking device to disable it for a bit. Then use your grappling hook and the electric charge 5 times in order to blow up another generator. You then activate the remote controlled Batmobile in order to lower the platform even further. Then you have to use Batman's grappling hook and then open up a wall which will allow you to go back to the Batmobile and get into the final Arkham Knight tank battle. You defeat the Arkham Knight and like the sore loser he is, he decides to destroy the Batmobile as his revenge. Honestly, I must thank the guy, I was relying on this thing far too much. May you rot in hell, you piece of trash. I had to restart a checkpoint, but that was worth it. Next up, you have to rescue Jimbo, and in order to do that you have to just beat up a few militia soldiers. So Jim, remember when you punched me? It's time to get my revenge.
Turn around.
What now? Oh, it's you again. What, you wanna fight again?
Who are you?
You really have no idea, do you, Bruce?
Actually, I did have an idea because for some reason the Joker has been showing me flashbacks over your death for the past few hours. I don't know how he knew about you, but he did.
You wanna know what I want now? I want you dead.
And I wanna finish this challenge, so come on, let's fight. Jason's boss fight is not extremely difficult. All you have to do is sneak around the arena you're fighting and use the grappling hook on the gargoyle he's standing on. For the first 2 attacks on him, all you have to do is sneak around and attack him using the grappling hook. However, after you attack him for the second time, you have to beat up the militia as well, because otherwise he wouldn't show up a third time. And when you beat up the militia, you have to use your grappling hook in order to escape from the area he closed off. Following that, Batman automatically uses the grappling hook in order to get on a gargoyle, and then you have to repeat the exercise and sneak around and use the grappling hook on the gargoyle Jason is standing on, then take down the militia. And this time Jason doesn't even try to trap you, all he does is get to another area and you have to sneak around the turrets he's placed. Finally, you take down Jason for the 4th time and this ends the fight. And you had to use the grappling hook a total of 5 times in order to beat Jason. Jason was defeated, but even though I knew what I had to do, I couldn't do it. After all, he was still my son. I didn't want it to finish like that. Jason was just confused. I knew I could save him somehow. The moment I turned around, Jason had run away. I hope he sees the light soon. Okay, Jim, let's go. Oh my god, Jim, you got destroyed in one hit? What do you mean, man? Okay, Jim, it's okay. You got destroyed by those guys, let's say that was a surprise attack. Let's go get Scarecrow. This is the 3rd time I'm facing him. I gotta stop him finally. I'm ruining my reputation. What the hell are you doing, Jim? Why are you pointing your stupid gun at me? Jim, I swear, if you shoot at me, I will come back and I'll personally push your daughter off of that edge. So you better consider your options, Jim. Otherwise, I'm not responsible for what happens to Barbara. Damn you, Jim! Well, Jim betrayed me. Naturally, right after that, Scarecrow betrayed him. So he got captured, Barbara got pushed away. But I was fine because I'm Batman. So I rescued Barbara. Unfortunately, we were surrounded by a bajillion tanks and the Batmobile was destroyed. Okay, Barbara, here's our game plan. You take the one in front of us and I stay here. Sounds good? Oh, wait, Alfred called me. He made a new Batmobile while I was fighting the Arkham Knight. That's awesome! So you used the new Batmobile to destroy the tanks, even though Lucius quite literally told you earlier tonight that the car was one of a kind. Somehow this one has all the upgrades and stuff. I don't know how. I won't question it. It saved my life. You then place Barbara in the Batmobile and go back to the GCPD. You leave Barbara there and go to reclaim the clock tower. After that you have to go back to the GCPD, so that's one more usage of the Batmobile. Only for the militia to show up and attack you. Funnily enough, they think they have a chance against you, but you easily beat them up and then have to use the Batmobile again in order to do some vandalism. You then use the grappling hook 2 times and go outside to see that the generator was actually destroyed. Thankfully there is a backup generator which is protected by a few militia soldiers, which you easily beat up yet again, and in order to restart the power you have to use the electric charge 3 times. Now it's time for the biggest tank battle of them all. You have to go in the Batmobile and you and Oracle have to fight with all of the militia tanks. After a long time you defeat the militia and have to launch yourself in order to get to the top of the GCPD building. On the roof you have to beat up even more of the militia, and then Scarecrow announces that he knows where Robin is, so Barbara yells at you for abandoning him in a cell. So you try to get to the movie studios to save Robin, but you're too late, so the only thing you can do now is to just give yourself up to Scarecrow. And he's a pretty nice guy, he even makes you surrender your utility belt. Honestly, I wanted to do that since the start of the first game. You go inside of Scarecrow's van, however you get a hallucination that you're in Crime Alley. This leads to a fight where you fight a whole army of Jokers, and you go back to the real world where Scarecrow has taken you back where it all began, to Arkham Asylum. He had everything prepared, he even forced Jim to remove your mask, and now everyone knew that Batman was Bruce Wayne. In order to humiliate you further, Crane injects you with some fear toxin, and you play with a Jokerized Batman for a while. With him you have to use the Batmobile in order to kill a bunch of people. After that you get out of the Batmobile and you take out your gun. You then go after your best friends Cobblepot, Two-Face and Riddler. You can actually spare Cobblepot, you don't have to kill him. However, the Riddler takes a hostage and wouldn't let you pass unless you kill him, so you have to kill the Riddler and use the gun for the first time. With Dent is pretty much the same situation, you cannot proceed forward without killing him. So for some reason the only guy you don't have to kill is Cobblepot. You're back to the real world where Joker has taken over completely, but Crane makes his biggest blunder ever by injecting you with even more fear toxin, because now Batman is the one who's controlling the show. You can still use the gun in order to destroy Batman's statues, and for the first one that's blocking your way you have to shoot it 2 times. Then in the cemetery you have to shoot the chairs a total of 3 times. Then you go into the Batman room where you're attacked by the real Batman, however you don't have to shoot any of the statues. And then you have to shoot the crumbling wall, again 3 times will do the trick. Finally, you have your final encounter with Batman and the Dark Knight takes the advantage and locks Joker away forever. With this, we have completed the main story of the game, but more than anything I wonder, where was Nightwing? Like, Tim is here, Jason arrived, but Nightwing was nowhere to be seen, as if he had ulterior motives, like getting all the Wayne inheritance or something like that if Batman gets killed. Where were you, Nightwing? You have some answers to give. Anyway, regardless of Nightwing's questionable loyalty, we have completed the challenge, and in part 1 the grappling hook had the most uses with 28, with the Batmobile coming close at 22, the remote hacking device had 15 uses and the explosion chair had 5, with the disruptor being required 4 times, the line launcher and detective mode 3 times each, the forensic scanner and remote controlled Batarang 2 times each as well, and the Batarang 1 time. This puts the total of part 1's gadget uses to 85. As for part 2, this time the Batmobile took first place with 25 uses, the grappling hook had 21, the electric charge 18, the gun that Joker uses had 10 uses, the voice synthesizer had 8, the remote hacking device 7, the explosive gel 4 and the forensic scanner had only 3 uses. This puts the total of part 2's gadget uses to 96. This means that in order to beat Batman Arkham Knight you have to use a total of 181 gadgets. And more specifically, the grappling hook 49 times, the Batmobile 47, the remote hacking device 22, the electric charge 18, Joker's gun 10, the explosive gel 9, the voice synthesizer 8, the forensic scanner 5 times, the disruptor 4 times, the detective mode 3 times, the line launcher 3 times as well, the remote controlled Batarang 2 times and the regular Batarang once. This is the end of the how many gadgets you need to use in order to beat Batman series. However, if you have any other challenges for this game or any other game in the series, feel free to write them in the comments and I'll check them out. You can also check out the rest of the series if you haven't done so. But that's it for me today. Thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!